Hello and welcome. My name is Ebube, and you are listening to Popcorn for Dinner. Today, we're spending time with our friends in the Mandalorian covert and in Grogu's mind as we finally learned what happened to him in Order 66. Lots of different views, lots of interesting critters, and the show making Game of Thrones references for me now. I have Priscilla here to talk about all of that with. So, Priscilla, how are you feeling?
That episode answered so many different questions that I've had. That
Awesome.
Order 66 one has been the one that's been plaguing me.
You love to see
Like,
it.
who
Yeah.
saved this man? This man. Who saved this creature? Like,
Yeah,
who
we do
saved
know that now.
Grogu? And now we know. And I feel like I can go to sleep now and I can rest. Like, when Thanos was like, and the sun sets on a grateful universe. That's basically where I'm at.
That is so
And
creepy.
who played the rescuer? Ah, John
Yeah,
Favreau.
that's
Ah,
that's a nice touch.
I
So for anybody
tweeted,
who,
I screamed, I screamed. I was literally, I'm not gonna
yeah,
scream into the mic. I was like, ah!
yeah.
No, I was like,
Um,
no way, not this
for anybody who
redemption
doesn't
arc.
understand, why she's rejoicing, um, Grogu, as we find out in this episode, I guess we're just gonna get straight into that, was saved during Order 66 by Kelleran Beck, who was actually created for one of the games, but is a canon character. Um, he would be rated quite highly among the Mandalorians since the greatest honor in their culture is to save a child, to save a foundling. And Kelleran is played by Ahmed Best, who actually played Jar Jar Binks in Star Wars Episode
Greatest
1,
character in the
The
prequels.
Phantom Message. Jar Jar is a very controversial character because lots of Star Wars fans felt he was a weird addition, very annoying voice, no real role in the story, all kinds of things. And some of them, as Star Wars fans tend to do sometimes, took it too far and weren't just bashing the character, but were also bashing the person playing him, Ahmed Best. And he went through a lot of different things. I've actually watched him tell his story a few times. There's a time where he considered, ending his own life. He went through a lot of mental health struggles because of that. And, he's coming back. Um, he's been given sort of a redemption arc, as Priscilla said, in this episode, because he is the one playing Keller and Beck, a very important character, as we now know. So it's nice to see him playing multiple roles in the Star Wars universe. He has actually also confirmed that he Keller and Beck is actually related to, I believe his name is Ahmed Beck from, I think, episode 2 or something along those lines.
Oh,
um he also played that character, so his redemption arc has been in the works for a little while. No canonical sources have actually confirmed this relation, but I think it's safe to say, I don't think that person was a Jedi though. In the game, his lightsaber, I believe, was purple as homage to Mace Windu, Samuel L.
nice.
Jackson's
Yeah,
character, who had a purple lightsaber and messed up the system just because he felt that his lightsaber should be purple. Sounds
because
very
he
in
wanted to see
character for
himself
that
in the
man,
film.
literally. Because before that, lightsabers tend they had a specific color scheme, so to speak. But we see that in this situation, his in this episode, his lightsaber is green. He shows a lot of skill helping Grogu escape, and then he's actually assisted by some loyal Naboo soldiers as they finally are able to escape Coruscant, which is the same planet that we saw in episode 3, which is titled The Converts. This episode is number 4, chapter 20, which is titled The Foundling. And I think it's cool to see how many different roles Coruscant as a planet plays in Star Wars. So much of the prequels happen um, in this planet, and you know now we get to see what was really going on, like on a granular level in the lives of people who are affected by the Order. And in case anyone doesn't know, Order 66 was the order Palpatine gave, for the Jedi to be destroyed, to be completely attacked, completely assassinated and wiped out. And that started a bunch of issues that really defined the series as we know it today. I've always wondered how he was able to set the infrastructure in place to actually execute something like Order 66 on such short notice. I mean, how did anybody see this coming? Um, but yeah, that's like a cool thing that we're seeing now in this episode, and I'm here for it. Welcome, Kellerman Beck, and thank you for your service. Speaking of saving foundlings, though, one big part of this episode is another foundling who we find out is the
Ragnar, isn't it?
son, yeah, the son of Paz Vizsla. I knew that kid was important. This is the same kid that we saw in the first episode of this season taking the Mandalorian oath, and he is picked off by a dragon. Okay, somebody needs to somebody needs to come to my rescue here because I'm really working hard to cool it with the Game of Thrones references on this show,
Then they do this.
but then they do this.
It was given season 4 of Game of Thrones. I'm like, what are we doing? I literally thought, like,
Literally,
are we in Dawn?
I genuinely was confused. I was like, "Come, what show am I watching? Like, what's happening? Is that a dragon?" Like, and then they call it a raptor because I guess it's kind of like a cross between dragon and velociraptor, or um,
Some sort of dino.
uh, it was so weird. It's
It
like
was
part,
something.
yeah,
Oh, I
part
was so
dragon, part
confused.
velociraptor, part um pteranodon. It's just weird, but yeah, it was cool to see. But yeah, how'd that make you feel other than confusion?
Um, I'll go into the Order 66 bits and I'll go into that bit as well. I
Okay,
think the
go
only thing I
ahead.
want to add in the Order 66 bit is that I always, I know people sometimes find it boring to always see Order 66, but it's probably one of the most pivotal points in the entirety of the Star Wars universe. Like, it's the entire pinpoint of the universe. And I think I always find it interesting to see someone else's perspective of the same event that we've seen like maybe 6 or 7 times. And I think
Yeah.
seeing Grogu's view is something I've always been interested in because he's still a kid now, but he's a kid. So how does that, what Palpatine and Anakin and the clones did, how does that impact him? Which was quite interesting to watch. In regards of seeing whatever the Jurassic Park thing that was, um, sure, it was really. I actually quite liked it. I did like it. I mean, I liked the idea that uh that Din and Bo-Katan were trying to save the kids. Um, I think I liked the sort of. I think the way they filmed it. I think it was Carl Weathers who directed this episode. He did a brilliant way
Which
because
is
the
amazing, by
anticipation.
the way.
Oh, because the way I was shook when Rand was in his mouth, I thought, yo, is he dead? Is he dead?
Yeah,
Like
literally, he
I
flew
was
right into
literally
his
like I
mouth.
was clenching. Everything in me was clenched. So I'm like, no, you can't kill off a kid like this. We're not even that
Yeah,
far in to the
literally. Yeah.
season. And
This is what I'm always talking about. Like, first it's the turtle croc, right, and now this, and I mean, you can't make this stuff up because honestly, first of all, how did these people not have ships that can actually chase? Like, how did they get to this planet? Like, why is Bo Katan being there with her ship or Din with his starfighter? Like, why is that the only thing that would give them a chance to get something like this? Because, like, were you really planning on on using jetpacks the entire way to chase that thing? And also, it always gets away. This has happened before. Like, I was like, wait, has this happened? Like, what? So like
how
when
many
he said
times?
that's the thing. Like, and when they finally got to the thing's little nest, I saw a helmet there. I was like, oh, it's the kid, and there it is. Oh, that's not the kid. That's a dead one.
This
And I'm
third
like,
one.
my god. Like, I mean, when he said don't shoot, that it's gonna kill the child, I thought he like okay, maybe he just had knowledge of this creature. I didn't think he'd seen him grab someone before. And now, of course, he cares because it's his kid. I mean, I knew that kid was important. To be fair, I had a feeling. It's interesting that that clan Vizsla lives on. I suspected he might be related to Paz. But yeah, he definitely suffered. Like, he got gurgled by that dinosaur thing, and then he was carried away again.
He was
That
beat by Grogu. Grogu
yeah,
did Jedi mind tricks, beat him, getting swallowed by
actual Jedi
some dino.
mind tricks. My thing
Exactly,
is,
actual Jedi mind tricks.
if bad things keep happening at the edge of this lake, why do they keep doing everything there and not setting up defenses? How, like,
This is
we're 4 episodes into the season, we're the halfway point now, and they've gone through 2 attacks in this same place from wildlife. Come on, guys.
you see
It's
why we're
just
the same.
hilarious.
You see why we're the same? Because I'm like, you guys are meant to be top
Oh my god.
generals. Like you throw, if we throw them like in like Saving Private Ryan, you know, the first 5 minutes of Saving Private Ryan, we throw them in that situation, they can handle themselves, right? They're about business. How many times are you gonna get yourself caught up in this situation?
You man are slacking.
Four
Slacking.
episodes in, I've never seen Din under pressure more in my life. I'm like, dog, you're meant to be a veteran now. Like you're meant to be like your prime 26, 27 messy era. You know, kind of know what you're doing. You're teaching your kid the tricks along the trade. You've got Bo-Katan
Yeah.
with you now who's helping you out. You guys meant to know what you're doing. I'm watching you fight for your life to save this kid from whatever that thing was. To this day, it will be 50 years from now. I do not know what I call that raptor. I don't know what it is. It's something.
Yeah, and honestly, it made me wonder, did Paz Vizsla's son, that foundling, did he have a point? Is Grogu actually too young to fight?
No, because if you're good enough, you're old enough, as they say back in the footy thing, innit? Because I
Interesting.
think with Grogu, the issue with Grogu is that Grogu sort of no, like he's got like don't explain it. He's got the chutzpah in him.
Hmm.
He just needs someone to sort of say to him like what Din was doing to him, like you know what you're doing,
Yeah.
like it's okay, like don't be scared of it. Because I think he's more in fear because he knows
Yeah, he's coming from a
obviously
place of
with great
trauma.
power, exactly with trauma, that poor thing has gone through a lot. See Anakin doing and all them clones doing all this nonsense. You got this black man saving you. That's a lot. It's a lot for a
Yeah.
little kid to go through, isn't it? But also, I think there's also that whole Spider-Man quote: "With great power comes great responsibility,"
Yeah.
and he knows that he's incredibly powerful. He's the most powerful person there, and he doesn't want to use his power for bad. And obviously, he was taught by Luke. And Luke is obviously in his kumbaya, kumbaya Jedi phase. So he's like, you only use it when necessary. Because at any point when that kid was fighting him, he actually could have, when he was shooting the darts at him, he could have at any point did that. He could have wrecked him if he really wanted to. But he did it. It took Din having to tell him, like, no, man, like, it's all right, man. Like, do your thing. And then obviously then he did his thing in it. So I don't think he's too young. I think the Mandalorians are underestimating him, partly because they don't know what he's capable of. The people who
Uh-huh.
know what he's capable of, like Din and Bo Katan, trust in him because they've seen what
Right.
he can do. Whereas they haven't, which is understandable. If I'm seeing this little green thing and you're facing up to Ragnar, I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like you're
Yeah.
too small. Whereas Din, obviously, and Bo Katan has seen him do mad things. He's not the same Grogu that was doing with the electricity, with the electrical wires in,
Yeah.
in that first
Yeah.
season. He's got his training from Luke. He's obviously grown up and he's done Mando stuff with Din. So he knows what he's doing now. I mean, he got Bo Katan to save Din and managed to show Bo Katan where everything was and stuff. So yeah, I just think it's a case of them not knowing how powerful he is because they've not seen it. He's not obviously now they know because he did backflips in the air, but at that point they didn't know, isn't it? So
Yeah. He has all these people that kind of, well, these few people that we already know that believe in him, right? And I think that makes sense, especially now that he also has the armorer. The armorer will definitely have to be in her bag, like her creative bag, and if she's gonna make him a solid helmet. But I think it's cool that she gives him a lot of guidance and just some lore drops in the episode, kind of to teach him. It's the whole, like, it takes a village to raise a child type of thing, and she's doing her part. I actually really like that character, and the Mandalorians using steel as a metaphor for themselves is really, really apt. I'm very glad they came up with that. I can't be mad at it. Um, the whole Order 66 thing coming from, you know like coming back to his mind when he was hearing her like hammer the metal was definitely an interesting trigger. It shows how much PTSD the child has, and I think that that's something he can overcome. But it's definitely going to take time, and I like that they're not being shy
Too
about
quick with
showing.
it.
Yeah, yeah, they're not rushing it. They're giving us a chance to see, his growth in that sense. I do like that the rondo that she makes has his family sigil on it, the
I
mudhorn.
know. Yeah, it
Um, um,
does.
yeah, I was very happy about that. And speaking of which, I think it's nice that Bo-Katan wants to wear the the mythosaur on her other shoulder plate now. Because I mean, we saw when that one fell off, when the original shoulder plate fell off. So now she's wearing the night owl and
She
the
believes.
mythosaur. Yeah, it's interesting that she's trying to respect the custom. She's asking, okay, so like when do I eat? She's not being a dick about things, and she really is the convert that was discussed, and that's fun to see. Um, I like that she's really integrating, and she really is one of them. I mean, she's saving their people. She's investing in her community, so to speak. So that's always a nice thing to see. Um,
It's gonna be
I
a
did
bad joke. I'm saying this though, but do you
what?
remember in 2020 when the race riots were happening, the race war was happening, and
Oh
everyone was
boy.
like, "We gotta," and white people start saying, "We gotta do better. We gotta start putting the work in. We gotta, help you." That's what she's doing right now.
Oh my god. I need to I need a moment to process this. Oh wow.
She
there's,
said, "Like, I'm not
there's
doing
so many
no black
questions.
square."
Oh god, there's so many questions. I have so many questions. We can't even get into that now, but I have so many questions. Um
She's putting the
wow, that
work
was
in.
was that your
Grassroots. I rate it.
wa- was that your American white girl voice?
No, 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 no. I've got a good value voice. When I'm better, I'll
Okay.
do it. But like, yeah, she was
Okay.
like, she was doing grassroots, no black
Mm.
square stuff. She's like, I'm helping you guys.
She,
That's
yeah,
what
she
she
was
was
actually
doing.
trying to be part of the movement, and that made sense. I will say though, it kind of felt on some level that they were not moving with enough urgency to actually save this kid before he got,
They
potentially
were too slow.
chewed like Suya. I really thought that. No, I was like, okay, well, I guess this is the best they can do. Like when they got to that place and they were like, okay, we'll camp here. I was like, you what?
The
You'll get
kid's
up
in
there
his
and
in
find
its
bones
mouth.
next morning. Nah, that
You're
was
gonna
wild.
find
Like,
him scattered. I was literally thinking, I'm like, am I the only person in this situation who's kind of worried that someone is in that thing's mouth? Like, on to this, Oniva, let's be quick and, save this
yeah,
kid. Because I was bare worried. 'Cause I'm like, what? But like, why are we gossiping and chit chatting? Like, get your jetpacks on and get
I
to
guess they
work.
need.
Sound
Yeah,
like Kim
I mean, I guess
Kardashian
they
on
need.
my days.
Yeah, I
You
guess.
gotta
Oh
get
my
to
god!
work.
Wow, that's true. Wow. Okay. Well, I guess they needed time for character development. Plus, I do think it was fair that they couldn't use the jetpacks. I don't understand. I wonder if it's like a weird plot device that they can't use jetpacks because if it hears any kind of like machinery, if it hears jetpacks or blasters or anything like that, it's going to kill the child. And I'm like, okay, I know you want these people to have an obstacle, but that seems like a very arbitrary thing to write into the episode. Still, it worked. I'm not necessarily mad at it. We don't really have any, I guess, benchmark from which to question it. So I guess I'm just gonna be okay with that. Still, Ragnar, the kid, he suffered, and I'm glad that he was okay again. Karma clearly is a force in this show because I did not expect a turtle croc to come back into this episode and and end that thing, like, because of course the dinosaur falls into the water after they restrain it, and then you know this dragon gets eaten by the giant alligator, which is not a sentence I thought I'd ever say. But it's a circle of life. This is the way. Another thing about following the way, I wonder if it's hard for Grogu to keep up with these people on foot. Like every time he's walking, it's just like, are you scurrying? Like these people are taking their steps, and he's just there, like with his tiny
You
feet
just,
moving, and like, yeah,
you
it's
know what?
interesting. He's been
When
walking
I
a lot
watch it,
more lately.
when he's maneuvering, I start crying so much because I'm so. It's just that everyone else is walking and you hear the pee pat, pee pat, pee pat. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it was actually very funny, but not
Mm.
as funny though as what Bo-Katan said at the end, or like, or at least when they got back, because she was like, "Yeah, we have some more foundlings in need of training," and I thought she meant that there were some other kids there that were still
That's what
alive,
I thought she meant. Yeah.
but no, she brought back dragon dinosaurs babies that are taller than grown humans, and I was very confused by this. I was like, okay, when the dragon died, right? I actually did think about the kids. I was like, okay, I guess those kids are just gonna die. They have no more mother. It is what it is. But then these guys are so Mandalorian that they brought back the kids. Think of how much work it must have been to get them into the ship. Think of how much more work it must have been to prevent them from eating anybody while they were in the ship. And then they brought them back. So it's like, okay, are they going to train them to be their protection on the island? Is that what this place is about to become? Um, because the place where this covert is Griswold. I think it's an interesting location. I'm not sure exactly where it is in the system, but it's clearly doing a lot of work for them. Um, I like that at least they feel safe somehow, even though genuinely they're not safe. Like, I mean, sure, they're safe from outside attacks, but they have all this wildlife to deal with, which is crazy. I mean, I feel like it might have been better if they dealt with mythosaurs. In any case, I was wondering when Bo-Katan would actually tell someone about the mythosaur. I was like, is she hiding it? Is this just like her trying to like decide if she really believes what she saw? Only for her to actually try telling somebody and is told she was having visions. Man, life is hard. Life is hard. Like,
Honestly, when she said it, I was like, yes, testify, testify, hallelujah. I was like, yeah, you better say. I was on your thing, so we were talking about this last week because we kept saying like we didn't know if she was actually going to say anything, like. And what was funny was that Showa basically didn't give her any like she got no thing from her because she's like,
uh-huh.
I saw it, and then like I think she was expecting someone to go, no way, like da 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 da,
Yeah.
and she didn't
Like,
get
are
that, and
you
you could
sure?
tell in her head, are you sure? And you could tell in her head she was like, wait, like
It's like, no, but I
she
really
was
saw
like,
it. I was like, yes, it was real. This is the way. And
yes,
she's
it
like,
was real.
oh
This is
my
the
God,
way.
sis, help me.
Help me.
Help
It was as if like
me.
you could tell exactly. You could tell like she was starting to gaslight herself, or whether or not she saw it or
Oh
not.
my God. Yeah, she was actually starting to wonder, like, okay, am I okay
She's like,
here?
am I okay? Like, did the waters really get to me that much? Like, did I see it?
Yeah, but I mean, overall, I'd say it was a solid episode. Really, really good plot points. Excellent use of flashbacks. Um, and good implementation of themes. The whole thing of family, community, growth and learning. I think that I think those ideas were really driven home in this episode in a very good way. Um, we already said the episode was directed by Carl Weathers, which, by the way, that's a really cool example of how you don't have to be one thing in life. I mean, not for anyone who doesn't know, Carl Weathers is the man who plays Grief Karga, the High Magistrate of Navarro. Um, and not only does he do that, but he used to be an American football player. So he's had quite an interesting life. Very cool and respected guy. The episode was written by John Favreau and Dave Filoni. And I think they're doing a really good job with the show. I'm interested to see where they take things, especially Filoni. Like Filoni is essentially the
The
mind
architect.
of Star Wars in, well, I guess in a modern day. Like, he's really the person who's putting all the puzzle pieces together, setting all these different things up in different shows. He clearly loves this set of stories, and I'm looking forward to um seeing where he takes things. Um Yeah.
Yeah,
Any any
I'm
any overall thoughts on the episode?
thought the episode was brilliant. Think it'll be interesting to see because what they've done really well is that like they've wrapped up storylines really quickly, things that you think will take ages. And I'm like, oh, so I'm intrigued to see how the last four episodes play out. Because a part of me
Yeah.
thinks they're building up for a thing between Din and Bo Katan, that this is a slow build up
Oh, now
to
you
it.
think this? I thought you were against
Now,
this.
no, as in them two versus each other, not them two being together.
Oh. Oh, okay. Okay.
No,
Okay.
no, 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 no. Like Dave Filoni, I want you to hear me well. No,
Okay.
but I feel
Gotcha.
like maybe they're leading up to it. Cause I'm like, they're being very kumbaya to me if he goes to school right now. Like you're feeling that like she's connected. She told Grogu like, oh, like my dad was the same. He's proud of you. Don't worry. Like I feel like keep thinking there's something going on in the background. This is too happy-go-lucky. Things are going too well right now. Not overtly, like not too well, but a bit too well. I'll keep
Yeah.
waiting for the other shoe to drop. Part of me, I'm like, that plot point in Coruscant with my lady, and Gideon is smelling. I can sense him in the atmosphere that he's
It
gonna
might
come
not
in
be
and
Gideon
just
though.
cause.
It might not
It may not
actually
be him.
be.
Whoever it
Yeah.
is, whoever it is, someone's causing to cause Wahala. I don't. I want to know who that person is because my girl weren't working on her own. She was doing something for someone, and things are going too well with them because obviously we're trying to. Obviously, we're watching the connection form between Bo-Katan, Din, and Grogu. Now they're become a unit, and the other Mandalorians now together. They're like a little family now.
Hmm.
What are they preparing for? Like, who's going to come in and cause havoc? This is what I keep. I came at the end of the episode and I'm like, okay, who's gonna come and wreck this?
You mean to the covert?
Yeah,
I feel
like
like they're just
something.
training because because training is what they do. You think they're expecting
No,
something?
not the training. I don't think they're expecting anything. I think there's a reason why they're showing like Grogu learning his skills and honing them.
Oh,
Din and
okay.
Bo-Katan becoming closer and working together, being able to fight together, which makes you think this is leading up to something in the last few episodes. I don't know what that thing is. I'm intrigued to know what that thing is
Hmm.
because it just seems like the way they're positioning the family unit and everything, they're gonna fight something. What that thing is, I don't know. And it may not be like a massive fight and it ends in that thing. It may go into the further another season or whatever, but I'm intrigued to know what it is because I feel like they're setting little things in the episodes. Like the
Yeah.
progress Grogu's made over the last four episodes, Din and Bo-Katan's relationship has obviously blossomed, and her relationship, her understanding being a being a Mandalorian, and she's going, "This is the way." She's prophesizing about the Mythosaur and stuff. So it's like this is leading up to something. What that thing is, I want to sit Dave Filoni down, but at the same time, I don't want to know because I want to be surprised by it. So, but no, I
Yeah, I
really,
feel
really
you.
loved the episode. I think it was brilliant. I think what I do want is I do want an episode around Din though. I do miss him. I do miss
I
him. We've
mean,
had everyone else have their moment, but I really miss I miss my single father.
I mean,
Like,
we've had a lot of exposition so far on him. I think now the show is trying to focus more on Grogu's growth. I think we'll probably get more Din like solo content in the future. Maybe when they talk about like some stuff that happened when he was a child. Maybe when they go back to his home planet, if they ever do that. Um, there could be like there's a whole bunch of different there's a whole bunch of different ways that could manifest. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Um, but yeah, that is pretty much it from us for now. By the way, the episode we did last week for the Mandalorian and Ted Lasso was actually our 150th episode at Popcorn for Dinner. So thank you to
woo,
everyone who is listening. Um, this is definitely going to be a fun ride in the next couple of months as we continue to cover more things. Succession's coming up. The first episode is going to be airing on Sunday, the 26th of March. and that episode is going to be coming out our review of that episode is going to be coming out pretty much right after. So stay tuned for that. But for now, we're going to send it over to our guys at AFC Richmond. Tell you what's going on at Ted Lasso.